Welcome to NASA's coverage of the 2023 Annular Solar Eclipse, live from Kerrville, Texas. I'm Tahira Allen with NASA Communications, and I'm joined today by Dr. Gina DiBraccio, the Deputy Director of our Goddard Space Flight Center's Heliophysics Science Division. Gina, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me, Tahira. Happy to be here.
I mean, it's a big day for heliophysics, which is the study of the sun. So Gina, I'm dying to know, how are you feeling right now?
I'm thrilled. We've been planning this day for such a long time, and I can't believe it's finally here. It's so exciting.
And I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better day, folks. It's blue skies. We've got the sun beaming. It's incredible.
It's great.
And so today's celestial event will be visible for millions in the Western Hemisphere, with 48 contiguous U.S. states and parts of Alaska witnessing at least a partial eclipse. Now, some cities, like Kerrville, Texas, are in what's called the path of annularity for today's events. So, Gina, can you break down what that means and what somebody in this path can expect?
Sure, Tahira. So when a solar eclipse happens, the sun, the moon. Now for an annular eclipse, the moon will be just a little bit further away from the Earth than during a total solar eclipse. And that means when the moon crosses in front of the sun, we're left with this ring of fire that we see in the sky.
That is going to be incredible to witness in person. And folks, the eclipse has already begun sweeping across the United States, first starting in Oregon at 9:13 a.m. Pacific and ending in Texas at 12:03 Central. From there, it will continue its path through Central and South America. Now, keep an eye on the telescope feed in the box on your screen. We're going to be sharing live views from across the eclipse path throughout today's show. Now, Gina, is there a way to know what kind of viewing experience I can have in my city?
Sure. So our viewers can go to go.nasa.gov/Eclipse Explorer, and that will take you to that interactive map that we have, and you can see when and what your viewing experience will be.
Gina.
Absolutely.
And folks, if you go ahead and look in that feed in your screen, this is a live view of Kerrville, Texas, and you can see the moon is already starting to inch across the sun right now. So again, this is a good time to mention where this eclipse goes today. We go during today's broadcast. So if you're not in the path of annularity and still want to see that ring of fire effect, don't worry. Our friends from Time and Date are bringing us live telescope views from across the path of the annular eclipse, starting first in the United States and then following the action as it sweeps across Central and South America. We have a lot of exciting things planned for you throughout the show. You're going to see what it's like inside a hot air balloon at the world's largest balloon festival. We'll then check in with astronauts aboard the International Space Station. You'll hear from a very special guest about eclipse safety, and then learn all the ways you can participate in next year's total solar eclipse. This is going to be the last time a total solar eclipse passes across the mainland U.S. for 2 decades. Now, you can interact with our experts in today's show by sending in questions using the hashtag AskNASA on social media, or by dropping them directly into the comment stream wherever you're watching. Now, today we are here for an annular solar eclipse. But did you know there is actually a difference between an annular and total solar eclipse? Now, imagine the sun is having a spotlight show in the sky. In a total solar eclipse, the moon moves right in front of the sun and covers it up like a big curtain, making everything dark for a little bit. It's similar to what you would see at dusk or dawn. Now, because the moon is completely blocking the light from the sun, we're able to see the sun's corona during a total solar eclipse. Now, in an annular solar eclipse like today, the moon is going to be a bit too far away to completely cover the sun. So like Gina said, when you look up at the sky, you're going to see a ring around the moon. Because of this, it is often called a ring of fire effect. And as you can see on your screen right now, it is going to be a really, really cool and unusual sight. Now, a word of caution, though. Because the sun is never completely covered during an annular eclipse, it is important to always wear your eclipse safety glasses anytime you look at the sun. Now, both types of eclipses are amazing shows, just with different perspectives. So today we're going to be bringing you views of the annular eclipse, and you're going to have an opportunity to view a total solar eclipse on April 8th, 2024. Now, Gina, anything you would add to that?
Of course, Tahira. So the science with the annular eclipse and the total solar eclipse, we can do great science, and NASA has a bunch of experiments, which you'll hear about later today.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Gina. And folks, it's time to meet your other hosts. We have James Traley at our Eclipse desk. He's going to be keeping us keyed into the action, connecting with telescope operators across the country to show us live views as annularity sweeps the nation. And we also have Joy Ung and Michael Kirk at our Albuquerque desk. They're going to be joined with special guests throughout the show to talk about how important eclipses are to all the science we do at NASA and how you can play a part in the activities leading up to 2024's total solar eclipse. Now we're going to head out to Joy and Michael later, but first, James, how are things looking on your end?
Hey, Tahira, so excited to be joining you live from Kerrville, Texas. I've got my Eclipse glasses ready to view today's big event, the Annularity, right here in just a few moments. We should be getting our first view from the West Coast in just a few moments. Up in Eugene, Oregon, they'll have the first awesome view from the United States. And you can track all of today's events using this interactive tool we've developed called our Eclipse Explorer. If you want to play around with this, go to go.nasa.gov/Eclipse Explorer. This is a fantastic tool that allows you to preview exactly what the eclipse is going to look like in your neck of the woods. You can see this path that it's going to be taking all the way down to us in Kerrville, Texas, starting out in the Pacific Northwest. But even if you're outside of that area of influence, say, for example, you're watching today's broadcast live from Milwaukee, you'll get a great view of a partial eclipse. And these little icons that you see here, these little googly eyes, if you will, they're actually clickable. So if I go to Eugene, they're supposed to have peak annularity beginning at around 9:17 a.m. Pacific. If I click on this little googly eye, it'll snap right to that time, and you can preview exactly where it's going to be. So you still have plenty of time to start getting up to speed with exactly what this annular eclipse or partial eclipse is going to look like in your neck of the woods. So I certainly encourage you to play around with this tool. And if we go to our real-time view of it now, you can see that a partial eclipse is already impacting a very large portion of the United States, stretching all the way out to as far as Nashville. And so very excited for our moment in this partially eclipsed sun here in Kerrville, Texas. We're expecting that to begin at around 11:50 a.m. local. I'm going to continue to track the movement of this annular eclipse across the U.S. But for now, back to you, Tahira.
Thank you so much, James. So excited to see that first instant of the Ring of Fire effect soon. Now, Gina and I are joined with Leslie Garrison.
Hi, Leslie.
Who is going to show us how to make a pinhole viewer to observe today's events if you do not have your Eclipse glasses.
Yes.
So, Leslie, I see you've got a few different pre-built pinhole viewers with you right now. Can you first just walk us through how this even works?
Yes, absolutely. So, to safely view the sun today, we brought a couple of items. We have a colander, a pinhole, a peg hole, a sheet of cardstock, and creating and using these that the sun is to your back so that the sun's light can cast light through the holes.
And you just, put it up and have it...
Yep.
Put a shadow on the ground.
Absolutely. And so on the paper model, we are going to put a hole here, and the light is going to go directly through it. Peg hole, the colander, and the NASA 3D printed model already has a hole. All you have to do is wait for the eclipse to happen and see the view of the sun on a surface area.
That's great. So, Leslie, can you go over those materials just one more time?
Absolutely. So at home, you probably already have a colander. This is just a pegboard toy from my son's toy box, and a sheet of cardstock and a hole punch. But NASA has a cool event online. You can see our URL somewhere on our screen, and you can go online and make these items at home to use.
So really, you just need something with a hole.
You need something with a hole.
Yeah.
The sun's light can shine through, so on the surface area, and you can see the eclipse on that surface area.
Simple, effective. Yeah. Leslie, thank you so much for your help today.
Leslie.
And folks, this is a good time to remind everybody that it is dangerous to look directly at the sun without specialized eye protection for solar viewing during today's events. Now, we have a very special guest that you might recognize popping in to share some important tips to make sure that you stay safe during an annular eclipse.
Hi, Eclipse enthusiasts. Lance Bass here, and I want to tell you how to protect those eyes and stay safe during a solar eclipse. During these celestial events, the sun, earth, and moon are in sync, creating solar eclipses. During an annular eclipse, it's not the moment for a sun staring contest away from earth to completely cover the sun. So, when you look up at the sky during this annular eclipse, you'll see the sun creating a glowing ring around the moon. Because the sun is never completely blocked, it is never safe to look directly at an annular eclipse without special eye protection for solar viewing. This I promise you. You should wear eclipse glasses so that you don't say bye to your vision. Seriously. And eclipse glasses are not the same as regular sunglasses. No, they're not. Safe solar viewers are thousands of times darker and will have a specific certification that you should look for right here. Don't be a space cowboy and try to look directly at the sun. If you don't have eclipse glasses, you can use an indirect viewing method, like a pinhole projector. You can make one of these with something as simple as an index card with a hole, or a colander, or even your hands. With the sun at your back, you can safely project an image of the surface like the ground. It's gonna be me who is wearing my eclipse glasses, and so are you.
Now, don't forget to be in sync with these safety tips, folks. Seriously, listen to Lance and protect those eyes. We really want everybody to enjoy today's events. Now, let's check in with Joy and Michael in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Joy, Michael, how is the energy over there?
Hi, Tara and Gina. The energy in Albuquerque is buzzing. We are so excited for the annular eclipse to pass through New Mexico in just under an hour. I'm joined with one of NASA's eclipse experts, Dr. Michael Kirk. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's an absolute honor and a privilege. I'm so excited to be here today.
So we're currently on the grounds of the Anderson Abruzzo International Balloon Museum in Albuquerque, and behind us, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is also happening. And in fact, a balloon is also about to get inflated right behind us, which is really, really exciting. So Michael, have you seen an annular eclipse before?
I have seen an annular eclipse in New Mexico back in 2012, but this is a special event here today. With the Balloon Fiesta going on, there are literally thousands of people behind us, all getting ready for this event. This is one of the most special eclipses I've ever been to.
This will be my first annular eclipse. I'm really excited, and the skies are looking really clear, so I have my fingers crossed that it stays that way. So we have these incredible balloons over the past week, but did you know that NASA also does science experiments and develops technology using balloons? They're slightly different from hot air balloons. So to learn more, I chatted with Chris Yoder from NASA's Scientific Balloon Program. Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So you're part of NASA's balloon program. What is the difference between a NASA scientific balloon versus a regular hot air balloon?
Good question. So hot air balloons are air-filled, and the air is heated to create the buoyant through the lift that gives them flight. Generally, they float at a couple thousand feet, and they go up and down in a matter of hours. Scientific balloons, on the other hand, are quite different. So our largest balloons can fit a football field inside their equator, and they can fly for much longer. So payload capacity is about 8,000 pounds, several SUVs. The duration can be up to 5 or 6 weeks at a time, and the altitudes can be up to 160,000 feet, about 4 or 5 times the height of a commercial airliner.
Wow.
So quite a bit different, yeah.
That's incredible. And you launch all over the globe. So you launch from New Mexico in the US, New Zealand, and even McMurdo Station in Antarctica. Why do you launch from all those different places?
In short, we go where the science needs us to go. Some scientists need Northern Hemisphere science for galaxies and star formations. That's why we go to Sweden. Same thing in the Southern Hemisphere. That's why we go to Antarctica. Most missions need some kind of trial or test system, so they'll fly from New Mexico to prove their science or even just collect science at a shorter duration. And then for missions that are a little more risky, we'll go out to PMRF in Hawaii.
So can you describe to me what launch day is like?
It's an incredible feeling, right? So you see the balloon be released, you hear the rustle of the fabric and the rush of the wind as it stands up. You see the balloon be released on the vehicle and ascend, and it just gives you chills every time you watch it. It's a really great feeling.
That sounds incredible. So how many of these balloon experiments have been sun-focused or eclipse-focused?
So about 8 to 10% of our portfolio is heliophysics missions. One of the ones that stands out in my mind is one I got to see launch in 2019 from New Mexico. It's called the BITSI mission, and it was looking at the corona, or the kind of the outer edge of the sun, and looking at how that behaves under different conditions.
That sounds amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks again for having me.
Our balloon program has been around since 1961, so it's no surprise that our balloons are constantly innovating and discovering new science. So let's dive into some of the big science discoveries that have been made with scientific balloons.
High above Earth's surface floats a critical tool in NASA's exploration arsenal: scientific balloons. Massive, helium-filled, high-tech balloons lift heavy scientific experiments into near space to get a clear view of our planet and the cosmos. Launched around the globe, these unique NASA missions provide a fast and cost-effective alternative to rockets to study Earth, our solar system, and beyond. Balloon science has led to many important discoveries. For example, astrophysicist John Mather studied heat from the early universe using balloons, which later contributed to his Nobel Prize-winning work confirming the Big Bang theory of an expanding universe. A special type of high-altitude balloon can carry telescopes above the clouds for extended periods of time to study the dark matter in distant galaxy clusters. One of these superpressure balloons, called Superbit, captured the Tarantula Nebula 160,000 light-years away. This winter, crews in Antarctica are preparing to launch the Gusto mission. Its infrared telescope will examine the complete life cycle of a star. NASA's scientific balloon program, guiding a path to discovery above and beyond.
Joined with us now is the Balloon Museum Manager, Nan Maslin. Thank you so much for joining us on probably the busiest week of the year.
I'm so happy to be here with you all.
So we're here, the Fiesta started in the 70s with a small group of people, and now there are hundreds of balloons. Can you tell us more about the event and what it means to the city?
Absolutely. Well, it started in 1972 by a pilot named Sid Cutter, who had the idea to get a few hot air balloons together. He managed to get 13 together in a mall parking lot, and they expected a handful of people to show up, and hundreds did. And that's when he knew he was really on to something. And 51 years later, there's 100,000 people behind us on the field right now.
Oh my goodness. So the Balloon Museum, it's where you work and it's where we are right now. Could you tell us a little bit about the relationship between the Balloon Museum and the Fiesta itself?
Absolutely. We are very good neighbors. We are here 365 days of the year. We started in 2005, and we start with the early ballooning in the 1700s up through today, exploring the history, science, art, and just wonder of ballooning. And if you haven't been to Albuquerque, we invite you all to come back and check out this museum.
And what do you love most about the Fiesta and the museum this week?
New Mexico is such an enchanting place to be, and the smell of roasting green chili in the air, there's nothing like it. There's a reason why Georgia O'Keeffe chose this place as her home. It's because of the open sky and the beautiful landscape, and we get to enjoy so much of that here. And when you think about it, there's like a spotlight shining on Albuquerque, and I think it's probably the best place in the whole wide world to be right now, today, Balloon Fiesta and an annular eclipse. I can't imagine anything better.
And how do you feel about an annular eclipse falling at the same time as the event this year?
It's just fantastic. I'm so happy to be here with you all, and Mother Nature has provided us the perfect sky today. Looking this direction, I don't see a single cloud. There's a bite out of the sun already, like it's bitten out of an apple, and I just am so excited to see the annularity.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm really excited to enjoy the annular eclipse together.
Me too.
So next, we are honored to hear from NASA Administrator Bill Nelson.
Hey everybody, we're so excited that you're joining us today for this solar eclipse. It's when the moon passes between the Earth and the sun. It's a big day for NASA scientists because eclipses present unique opportunities to study the sun. And what we learn from these eclipses, along with our heliophysics research, has incredible benefits for our human exploration. The sun is a powerful, hot, glowing ball of hydrogen and helium, and it actually holds together the entire solar system. Without its energy, we couldn't exist here on Earth. Just think, it influences everything. what we do on Earth, growing crops, our economics. It even affects our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. We see its influences reflected throughout our culture as well, in art, music, religion, sports. And when you look up today with your eclipse glasses, I hope you're going to remember all the ways that the sun impacts us. NASA will never stop studying our closest star for the benefit of all of us, terrestrial beings here on planet Earth.
Thank you, Administrator Nelson. So, Michael, we've been getting a lot of questions on social media. Shall we dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So, I have a question here from Priyesh Patel on YouTube, and they ask, do events like eclipses occur in a similar pattern geographically?
Oh, absolutely. Geographically, we get the same sort of shape of an eclipse that will move slightly northward in its progression. So this is called the Saros cycle. And every 18 years or so, there's a repeated pattern of an eclipse, and the pattern itself repeats a little bit further north each time. And so we get these overlapping patterns that are exactly the same over time.
Amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really surprising. Okay, and before I go on to my second question, I just want to mention that in the telescope view now, we are seeing a partial eclipse and a lot of bite out of the sun.
Oh yeah, it's getting a bit bigger. We're not quite to 50% yet, but yeah, it is getting there. It's pretty exciting.
That's so exciting. Okay, so the second question I have is Sammy Connor on YouTube, and they ask, how does the Ring of Fire eclipse affect the light from the sun reaching Earth?
Ooh, that's a fantastic question, because this has something to do with the science that we can do with eclipses as well. So as the sun gets blocked by the moon progressively, there are parts of the sun, active regions specifically, that will be blocked, and the light from the active regions won't be able to hit the Earth's atmosphere. So we can actually study the effects. We can actually study these effects. We'll hear a little bit more about this later in the program.
Amazing. Okay, so a third question is, one of our viewers on YouTube asks, how do eclipse glasses work?
Ooh, that's a great question.
So these things.
Yeah, we have eclipse glasses. Okay, so you see the lenses right here. This is a mylar film, and the coating on it blocks over 99% of the white light that comes here. Not only that, but it also blocks infrared and ultraviolet light, so it keeps your entire eye safe. So it's really that coating that keeps us safe from the powerful sun's light.
I'm glad.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Of course.
So remember, wherever you're watching in the show, ask a question in the comments below using the hashtag AskNASA, and we'll be answering more later today. So now let's head back to Tahira and Gina in Kerrville, Texas.
Thank you, Joy and Michael. The weather looks great in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
It does, yeah.
So, folks, if you're just joining us, we're following the 2023 Annular solar eclipse as it sweeps across the Americas. Now, coming up soon, James at our Eclipse desk will be plugging us into our very first views of annularity taking place in Eugene, Oregon. Now, Gina, as we anticipate this beginning first moment, can you walk us through what exactly is happening when an annularity takes place?
Sure. So when the annularity is taking place, that's when the moon is going to be in front of the sun. Now, for the annular eclipse, it's not going to completely block the sun, so we'll have that ring of fire that we get to see in the sky. And if you take a look at that live feed from the telescope that we're seeing right now in Kerrville, we already have a bite taken out of the sun from our perspective as well.
Wow, and so that's just going to pass directly over, but not fully cover it.
Exactly. We'll still have that ring peeking out.
Beautiful. And I mean, we're seeing something, but will anything else happen? Like, will we feel anything?
Yeah, so that's the fun thing about these solar eclipses is the fact that there will be environmental changes. So we'll feel that temperature drop, maybe a change in humidity and wind as well, but also nature will respond. So check out, how it feels around you. The birds will nest and go back to their trees. The crickets will come out, starting to chirp. It'll feel kind of dramatic when this happens too.
Can't wait to feel that with you today. And folks,
great.
I mean, it's not just us here on Earth plugged into today's action. Emily Fafaro with NASA Communications had a chance to chat with two astronauts aboard the Internet today. And so again, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you for having me.
And folks, The action isn't over yet. You can continue to watch views of today's annular eclipse as it moves across the path by visiting go.nasa.gov/eclipse 2023 live. That live stream will continue running until 4:30 p.m. Eastern as this eclipse continues its way through Central and South America. Now, unlike today's Ring of Fire effect, we are going to witness the moon completely block out the face of the sun during next year's total solar eclipse. The sky is going to darken as if it were dawn or dusk. You can learn more about eclipses and what's in store for April 8th, 2024 by visiting go.nasa.gov/eclipses. The total solar eclipse is sure to be a rare event and one you will not want to miss. So stay up to date with sun-related events and how we are studying our star by following NASA Sun on social media. Folks, thank you to everyone who has tuned in to today's coverage of the 2023 annular solar eclipse. We hope to see you back here next April as we ring in the last total solar eclipse that will pass through the mainland U.S. for 2 decades. Now, here's how you can celebrate the countdown to April 8th by joining our heliophysics big year.
We are one of 100 billion stars in a vast galaxy, but for all of human culture on Earth, one sun that nourishes us all.
That is what stirs humankind. That's what unites us.
Experience the wonder, the beauty, and the power of our star.
One sun across space, time, and culture.
Let us continue the quest to unfold this universe. And let us continue to find unity in our discovery.
Yeah.